On to this story now. South Africa's network operators, including Vodacom, MTN and Telkom, among others, are demanding that the government afford them rebates for the billions of rand they spend on diesel and other energy sources to keep the country connected during load shedding. The operators, which make up the Association of Comms and Technology, in 2023 alone say the cost of diesel to maintain network connectivity and the digital economy stands at 1.1 billion rand, and they want government to give them a breather. For more on this story, I'm joined by the association's CEO, Nomvuyiso Batyi. Nomvuyiso, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Let's talk about something that is quite important. As the network operators, you came together and you are saying you are spending hundreds of millions, if not billions of rands, to keep the lights, to keep the connectivity on. These demands you've made to National Treasury. Paint us a picture of where the telco operators are at this present moment.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to the viewers at home. The picture is as such, as you can imagine, with the power cuts that we are currently experiencing in South Africa. The telco network operators have had to invest in a number of alternative power solutions, including your wheeling, your batteries and the likes. And over and above, they have to spend on diesel on a daily basis. And this is actually impeding them in order to connect ourselves as end users. So it has that impact. You would note that there are periods of time that network operators are not available fully, wherein there is load shedding or immediately after load shedding. This is a result of trying to use alternative power solutions during these periods and the cost associated with such.
Nomvuyiso, it's quite clear how crippling to the economy load shedding has been, but when we zone in to the telco space, you are saying that the sector cannot sustain itself. Most sectors, when they say that, it's another language to say that we might actually eventually pass on the cost to the consumer. Is that the only choice that you have should you not be successful in this application for rebates?
At this point, what we are trying to do, we're trying to look at other alternatives, such as the having applied to the National Treasury for the diesel rebate, in order to avoid that, because we do take into account that consumers, the cost of living has drastically increased. But as a connectivity, because it is the backbone of the economy here in South Africa, amongst other industries, we are saying that it is not sustainable for the telecommunications sector to continuously managing the cost of ensuring that South Africans are connected without some form of a breather.
You're also calling for the electricity regulation bill to be fast-tracked, and you believe this bill will be delayed further by the public hearings that are to ensue, and that will hinder the industry from implementing your own sustainable energy solutions. Explain where the bottlenecks are as far as the bill is concerned and as far as it limits you from doing and finding those alternatives.
We understand that the bill currently is before Parliament, but as you know, Parliament has to undergo its own processes of consultation, which include the National Assembly on its own, and then the National Council of Provinces. And just those two processes, it will take a long period for it to be finalized. And we do recognize that next year there is going to be a closure of Parliament due to the impending elections that are coming. And therefore, even if we were to calculate the days as per normal sittings in Parliament, it will not be feasible within this fiscal year. And how it impacts us, remember the Electricity Amendment Bill in itself offers opportunities for other people to be able to offer electricity at a distribution level, and therefore for other competitors such as ourselves, as our members, to be able to participate within those competitors, to make investments, and or to be able to have a wider choice in order for business and industries to connect for purposes of electricity.
Your calls to the government, Nomvuyiso, as the association, is to specifically unburden the industry from these diesel costs. And from what I've read in your statements, you say that a refund of R4 for every litre of diesel that any firm spends when it comes to diesel should be the refund that would be adequate for the companies to sustain themselves. What about misuse? How would the government ensure that the sector itself does not misuse these rebates, particularly because you are not the only sector, you wouldn't be the only or the first sector to actually have such rebates?
The diesel rebate is not being implemented for the first time if our sector is successful. There are processes and forms that the National Treasury and SARS do develop in order for a person to qualify for a diesel rebate. For example, in the agricultural sector, you have to demonstrate that the diesel that you have utilized was not used in the ordinary course of conducting, let's say, a motor vehicle in the national roads of South Africa. So there are very stringent resources that stringent rules that are applied by SARS in order for those that enjoy that diesel rebate to be effective. So there hasn't been a case that I'm aware of in South Africa that the diesel rebate has been abused. What we have noted is that instead it has been used at a minimum in the mining and the agricultural sector. And we've noted the food manufacturing industry as well recently did apply and were successful. However, we have not seen how the implementation has been done at this point in that space.
And of course, in your statement, you've also tried to state your case in that this is not only for the South African telecommunications sector, the network operators, but the South African economy. And you've quoted a number of reports that point to how the digital technologies can generate more money for revenue for the industry and for South Africa's economy as well.
Correct. So as you can imagine, essentially even me being on this call, we are connected through the telecommunications network. Almost every sector in the economy in South Africa relies on the telecommunications sector. You name it, be it retail, be it banking, be it mining. Therefore, by ensuring that the telecommunications sector remains productive, remains being able to connect, you will ensure that South Africa and its economy is currently functioning as it is done. It is happening at this point.
Nomvuyiso Batyi is the CEO at the Association of Comms and Technology, talking to us there about how the telecommunications industry in South Africa is demanding and why they are demanding at least R4 refund for every cent that they spend on 1 litre of diesel, because they say they simply can't sustain the network at the cost that it is at the present moment. Thank you very much for your time.